Join us as we take a look back at Drivers Club Pro Driver Day with Dennis Macchio. With over 45 years of experience, Dennis has been track owner and manager at Bridgehampton, a circuit designer, racing school owner and head instructor at Bertil Roos, and team owner of Hot Shoe Racing, as well as a track consultant.
So a track walk's a see at 3. It's an opportunity to go out and see a track and see things that you could be driving that track for years and never see. Subtle elevation changes and all of those sorts of things. Look all the way back up in turn 1. What can you tell me is on the right-hand side of the curbing? Dirt, okay? A quick thought, not so much there because it's real long, but a quick thought when you drop wheels on the exit of a corner. You can't see ruts at speed, but you can see brown. And you can see where the rut ends because it becomes green. So I have an old saying, when you drop wheels, straighten your hands, slow up, wait till brown turns to green, check your mirrors and re-enter. Always remember that. You know, you don't lose vision. You don't lose color vision at speed. All right, so something to think about. And one more little thing. This particular corner, okay, looking at it, the first thing I would notice if I was brand new here is the inner third of the corner has camber. It's uphill. Those are two things that allow me a little extra grip and maybe a little bit quicker going through this corner than my eyes would have told me if I hadn't been out here looking at it. Wow, I got a little bit of camber to work with, etc., etc. The curbing is, for all intents and purposes, benign, right? When you look at curbing on your track walk, don't just look at the curb. Look at what precedes the curb and what's after the curb, okay? Proper done curbs, which don't always happen, are usually blended into the ground. Others have a curb stop at the beginning of a corner, and if you put a right tire, for example, that one has a little bit of one. It can really unsettle the car. These are things that you factor in. If you see a corner, I'm a big fan of what we refer to as ocular driving technique, which is 90% of this game is using your eyes. There's one thing that's negative about ocular driving technique, and that's optical illusion. All right? Sometimes the track's going downhill and it looks uphill, and it looks downhill. One of the things with optical illusions, if you see a corner on a racetrack that has no rubber, it has lied to the racing population that it's a slower corner than it looks like, and nobody's challenged it. If you have another corner that has 6 tons of rubber laid out, like this one kind of almost does, it's the optical illusion the other way. It looks faster than it really is. This particular section of track, the textbook says when you have close corners together like this, you compromise the first segments of the corners in order to set up perfectly for the last corner in the sequence. So I invented, as I said this morning, the term reverse compromise. I come out of that corner in a Formula car at about 100 miles an hour. I'm up to about 120 right here in an Atlantic, okay? And I want to keep my 120 as long as I can. And so I will go through here in such a way, okay, laying a little bit off the first apex, but trying to get as close to a single arc as I can. I know if I get a single arc through as close as I can, with a little bit of scrub going through the corner, I'm going to be at 120 to 125. If the car accepted the first steering input, especially with the camber and the slight uphill going on, I'm going to be able to hold that arc all the way through. Look at the turning point over there. In fact, look at the amount of rubber as people are trying to turn from there. What can you tell me about the camber on that side of the track? Is to turn in without camber, without the use of camber, okay? Secondly, from that cone, that apex cone on the inside of turn 3, you're still steering when you go for your brakes. Okay, you still have steering input. That means you're trying to slow down with 1 foot in the air. Okay? Now let's take the other way. Okay? You've flown through 2, you've flown through 3, which by its nature is going to take you over this way so that you're maybe about 10 feet wide of that apex cone. In fact, your apex for 3 is going to be the beginning of the curbing. That's when you know you did it right. The beginning of the curbing that cone is sitting on, beginning that way. How much camber is there to the inside?
A lot.
All right? So your first steering input, what you're going to do is go from the beginning of the curbing in 3 straight to the curbing for 4. Straight line. A, you get straight braking. So how do you experiment with this particular thing? 40 miles an hour, get the line down, get the muscle memory down, then do it at 60% and then 80%. And then someday, next to last session of the day, the last session of the day sucks. Next to last session of the day, when you're really warmed up and all of that kind of stuff and the muscle memory is working, then try to do it fast. The biggest problem with this corner is there's no correction after the apex. In fact, slightly before the apex. So, one of the things we teach in schools is identify mistakes early. You've got more options to get out of it. I turn into this corner, and if I estimate, I can't see the apex when I turn in, but if I estimate that I'm not going to be at the apex, I start correcting already. I don't wait till I get up to the top of the hill, find out I'm 5 feet wide at the apex, because I'm going to be 5 feet wide at the exit too. All right? But the deeper you get into this corner under braking, the lower the grip for the turn-in is. It's actually off camber. See that tire wall over there? Huge amount of camber. Look how you can't see the inside of the track by the cone, but you can see all of the outside of the track, okay? And well before the apex, there's a giant pocket of camber, which is huge grip. Now, I said this morning in the classroom, for those of you that were there, turning in early and apexing early is dangerous. And early apex is also fast if you can get away with it. And the reason you can get away with it is you can fly into this corner, see where the cone is, you can go into this corner, and I suggest you try it today, 5 feet earlier than that, do it slow, turn in, and get your muscle memory to get to the curbing, to the apex early. 6 to 7 feet early, and as you get to that the curbing, add steering. Okay, only you know how much you need, and you're only going to know how much you need if you're looking at the exit. Add steering. You can park up, where am I? Park right over there. You don't even have to park on grass when the green guys are out, and take a look at the entry to that corner. The fact that the camber picks up on the outside makes it less of an elevation change, if you understand. Whereas the inside, you go down further and start to come up just at the time that you want to turn. So you get a compression on the car. So if I can, so imagine being over there and turning from here as opposed to all the way over there. Now, once you do that, you're in early. Okay? So you have to crank some space, some steering in, and you have to let the car drift to the left a little bit. And it doesn't feel good. Oh my God, the car's drifting to the left. If this problem continues, I'm going to be in grass and up against that wall up there, which there's been people up there, okay? But you have to kind of trust that you can modulate your throttle. Everybody know the 4 stages of inputs? Full brake, trail brake, partial or maintenance throttle, full throttle. You almost need all 4 of them. They vary in size depending on the corner sometimes. I mean, I hate trail braking. I'm a brake, turn and go guy. But there are times that I got to trail brake a little bit into a corner. I have another whole speech about that, which maybe the next time I'm here I'll do. But that throttle maintenance, especially if you're in a fast car, you're building up a lot of speed coming through here. You will, the car, if you're in a GT4 or something like that, you will be faster than the car can handle halfway through that corner. So you have to use some throttle maintenance. Sometimes you got to compartmentalize. There's 3 things to driving a race car: slowing it up, turning it, and speeding it up. Okay? Sometimes you have to focus on one thing at a time. I sometimes would spend the whole day working on exit speed. I didn't care where I braked, it didn't matter, right? I wasn't working on braking. You may want to apply that at some point in your methodology for learning. You have a great racetrack here, great people here, lots of track time during the course of the year. To commit one day to one of those 3 things is cool. To experiment is cool. I can tell you there are 3 kinds of drivers, right? intuitive drivers, analytical drivers, and guys who combine both. Intuitive drivers, even ones with a lot of intuition, plateau. It's the analytical drivers, the ones that are always looking to learn a little more and get a little extra advantage, that keep improving and keep improving. And you can improve, believe it or not, until you're very old.
Thanks once again to Dennis Macchio for his advice and guidance. And if you want to experience Pro Driver Track Days at NJMP, join the Drivers Club today at njmp.com.